I want to know who would actually tip someone on a return. Like, you're going to get your money back for something and they're asking to tip that, right?
In the self-checkout line at the grocery store. Do you want to tip the computer?
What's the craziest thing that you left a tip for?
Tipping culture. Pros and cons, or what do you think?
Well, let's give a little bit of a kind of...
Are you for tipping? Are you against tipping?
Well, that's what I want to say. It depends for what, I guess, you know? Like, yes, I guess I am pro for tipping, but not for everything, you know? I told you a couple weeks ago, we went to a store to return something, and I saw on there, would you like to tip, on the little screen as you're like about to confirm your amount for the return.
So
that's the first time I've seen that type of tipping.
So this is a little background. This is a retail clothing store that you went to a mall with Greta to go return a piece of clothing. And as you're returning this item of clothing, they turned the screen around.
Oh, the screen was there.
Oh, okay. So it was the card reader.
Yeah, it was the card reader.
Pops up on there. Would you like to tip the cashier for processing your return?
Exactly. And when I saw that, I immediately took a picture or I don't know if I took a picture, but I sent it to you.
You sent it to me
because I knew you're
immediately.
gonna have a laugh out of it and get a little heated.
I still can't get over that. I part of me believes it's not true.
They're testing it. I want to say they're testing it for sure, which is already crazy.
But a bigger part of me believes it because you go, I have seen, I don't know if you've seen it on TikTok. There's a video going around recently of same concept, but this gets even better. In the self-checkout line at the grocery store.
No way.
Do you want to tip the computer for scanning your items? Dude, that makes... How? This is absurd. And this is coming from a guy who worked delivering pizzas for 10 years and doing Lyft, right? And I survived off of tips for 10 years. I needed the tips.
Right.
In those scenarios, your delivery drivers, I wholeheartedly believe tip, right? Because that's, for the most part, where they get their money.
Right.
Some restaurants or other places will do an hourly plus tip plus something else, which is very rare. But for the most part, it's maybe a very small hourly, couple bucks, and then you keep all your tips, right? Anything else where you're getting at least minimum wage or a little above, no.
Oh,
no.
I absolutely don't think so.
What? Why? It makes no sense. I'm going to Potbelly. The guy behind the counter has literally pushed 5 buttons on the sandwich that I want. Why am I tipping 20%?
And that's the new style of tipping. I think that's been introduced in the last like 10 years maybe, right? Or 5, that you're ordering something and the cashier now will ask you if you want to tip them, right? Because that wasn't there before.
No, and you could even tell that these cashiers are so uncomfortable that when they turn this, they don't even say it's going to ask you for a tip. What they say is there's going to be a prompt on the next step, and you could fill it however you want. They turn it around. It's the tip screen, and they go and turn around and do something else because they feel awkward.
Yeah, because they probably will go and buy something somewhere else and they know the same thing. They're like, I'm not going to tip for this, you know? It's the dumbest thing I've ever seen. And so that's why I believe, you know, the self-checkout that you said that they're asking the tip on, the return thing that they were asking the tip on.
That is absolutely effing insanity.
Yeah, but it's happening because...
Why would you tip at self-checkout? The only places you should be tipping your bartenders, if you go to a restaurant or a bar, obviously servers, which even there, I believe, and this is my thing, I would be okay with a restaurant increasing their prices 20 or 30% and the servers getting paid a living wage with benefits versus tipping. Because then automatically the service is going to be overall generally better, right? Because they don't have to worry about a fake. Some servers give a fake vibe of being nice, or if they have one bad customer and they know that they're going to get a bad tip there, kind of changes their mood for everybody else, and everybody else gets screwed out of it.
But what if, like, because tipping should be on performance based always, right? So what if they just are not good to you? Why would you pay the extra 20% in bill for the restaurant and it's going to that server when they didn't even do a good job? Because to me, how I always looked at tips is like, I like to tip well, always have. But if you truly don't deserve a tip, I would rather do a 0 than give like 5%, even though I kind of feel bad, even though they just did not a good job.
I see that if it went, let's blanket it, right? It's the new industry. And this is just US, because overseas
There's no
in
tipping
Europe and
in a
other
lot of
countries, they don't tip. They actually see tipping as the opposite. Like, you did so poorly at your job that I think you need more money for experience or whatever. Like, they take it as a negative when they get tipped.
But I don't know. Maybe they get paid more over there.
Which,
I don't know for sure.
That's the thing. I've noticed traveling with Jess, going to different countries, and noticing where tipping is not standard. Across, I'd say 80%, our service has been fantastic. And that's what I was going to say, that if our standard changed here, where the prices did get higher, there would be people who would not be, I don't want to call it afraid of getting into the industry, but not avoiding it as much because they're worried like, oh, based on my performance, I'm not going to be tipped well, so I'm not going to make a lot of money. I'm just going to stay away from that type of job. Whereas if you're getting a normal hourly wage and benefits, you're not going to be as worried of not making the money, and your level of service will be higher.
I mean, makes sense because in Japan, like, the service was fantastic all the time. They greet you, be polite, bring everything, check in on you.
And I feel like also the restaurants will have lower turnover rates with staff.
Yeah, that could be beneficial. So, yeah, maybe that would be the better option than just giving tips. But see, like, those people were okay tipping, right? The servers, like, those are okay. It's now the other things where you ask me, am I pro tipping or not, right? I'm pro tipping in that department, but not the other things that we discussed, and that's crazy. And now also, how much tip are you going to give? Because like years ago, I remember when I would be given the little thing, it would be pre-written. I think it was 10, 15, and 20 and
right.
Other. Now I think the lowest is 18, and it's like, the
18,
middle one,
22 and 25, or 18, 25 and like 28.
Something like that. And I think the middle one now is the 22 or 25. It's no longer I think it was maybe 20 before, or 15 or something like that. So that's increasing. Everything's increasing, where you're giving tips, they're increasing those places as well. Like the return one, man, like that one kind of got me going. Like I want to know who would actually tip someone on a return. Like, you're going to get your money back for something and they're asking to tip that, right?
I'm not one to cause a scene. I like avoiding scenes, obviously, with my anxiety and shit like that. Let me tell you.
Who?
If I was there and that shit happened to me, I would pull out my phone and record it. I'd be like, I would put this company on blast so hard and be like, there is no chance that this is real. My goal would be to make sure everybody saw this. That is absolutely insane. Same with the other video that I saw going viral on TikTok with the self-checkout lane asking to tip. Those two, if that were me, scene. I would cause a freaking scene.
So you don't give any tip in those.
Bro, come on. Self checkout. I'm scanning my Red Bull and the loaf of bread. 2 things, right? And I get prompted by the self checkout to leave a tip. I'm also against vandalism. The little bit of anger in me would probably take over and I might smash that screen.
That's funny.
I'm starting to get heated because that is just so. Who thought that it was a smart idea in the upper levels of corporate to be like, let's implement the tip thing? And here's the thing. Part of me thinks they did this just to go viral on social media. There's no way somebody thought this is a good idea. No chance in hell. And if they did, then society is getting really fucking dumb.
No, that's what's happening.
A lot dumber than I thought.
That's exactly what's happening, dude. The goal of every business is just how far can I take everything, you know? Where is the point where I'm going to cross the line? So they're testing it. I can guarantee you they're testing it. If it works, now more stores are going to do that, you know? And then all stores are going to do that if it works. So
if that happens, I might be moving the farmland and starting this farm by myself with Jess and saying F you to everybody. I'm going to start knitting my own clothes and shit because this is insane.
You don't have to do it, right? You don't have to tip.
Well, you don't have to
That's the
tip.
only thing.
Right.
That's why my question is, who tips in that scenario? Like, who would be the person that would tip? Do you feel bad or something and you would
I really want to
tip?
If somebody in those 2 scenarios, right? The retail returning the hoodie or
2
whatever.
Scenarios.
Those the 2
Say
that
them
we're
exactly.
talking about. The one that you and Greta had.
You're
the
returning money.
Clothes, right, to the store, and the tip pops up, or you're in self-checkout, and it asks you, would you like to tip?
Would you tip?
If you are one of those people, if you're watching this video, and you're one of those people who would tip in either of those scenarios, please message me, and I would love to have a conversation with you.
And why would you tip?
And why?
Exactly.
Because no way, shape, or form can you convince me otherwise.
Not a chance.
That it makes sense.
So a couple quick questions for you. So you're returning an item, okay, to the store, and that pops up. Do you tip?
Hell no.
You go to the self-checkout, and the thing comes up to tip. Do you tip?
No chance.
Okay, you're going to buy Pop Bellies, and you're paying at the cashier, and someone asks you for a tip. You don't tip.
No.
Okay, so now, you're going to Home Depot, and someone's helping you out, and at the store, do you tip?
No.
Okay, you go to a restaurant and you're eating a meal. At the end, then do you tip?
Yes.
That one is okay.
Let me go back to the Home Depot one, right? If I'm just in the store and I ask, hey, I need this 90 grit sandpaper or whatever. Where's the sandpaper located? What aisle?
Right.
And they point me and they say aisle 12, right? In that scenario, no, I'm not tipping.
So what would it take for you to leave a tip?
Here's the thing. Let's say I have a big project that I'm building. I'm renovating the bathroom, right? Mm-hmm. And I have boxes and boxes and boxes of tiles. And I'll go into this scenario. I'm gonna have surgery on my ankle in October, right? Or sometime this year. And I need help carrying it to the car. If I have somebody helping me take it and load it into the car, even then I could still manage it myself. But let's say there was a very enthusiastic employee that said, no, I'll help you, don't worry about it. I would throw them some money, $5-10, whatever, just because like I appreciate it. In that scenario, if you're doing something physical and helping me, in that scenario, I would tip them. I know it's not standard. I know they're not outright saying, hey, if you tip me, I'll help you. Then that's not what I'm saying, right? But if I'm just going into Home Depot, Menards, Lowe's, whatever, and asking, where's the light bulb section? And someone says, throw me $1 and I'll tell you. I'm going to smack the hell out of you.
Well, that's what's happening with the checkouts, right? When you're going to order Potbellies or whatever. I don't know if McDonald's has this yet, but a lot of places do, right? You just took my order. Here you go. Give me a tip.
It's basically the company saying, give me free money for nothing.
Because I don't want to pay.
In the self-checkout.
Because I don't want to pay the employees whatever, extra. We want it to get passed down from you, the customer, so that we don't have to do it and they stop complaining about pay. That's basically what it comes down to. And yeah, that's crazy. And either don't do it or pay higher and then don't do it.
This is also another thing a lot of people don't know, and I can't confirm that it's every place, but I know there are certain stores when they ask, would you like to donate to this charity? Right?
Okay, I see what you're going to say.
When you donate, you are not actually donating to the charity. Whatever store you're in that you are buying, and this is prompting you, right? That company has already donated to that charity, and you are giving them the money back. So they have already donated money for a tax write-off.
Mm-hmm.
They're getting the write-off, and you are just giving them the money right back. So that it could basically cycle every year.
Or this is a stretch, but maybe they're calling the tipping to their own employee charity, and they're just taking it as a tip.
I'm out. I'm out. Wow.
Or they have their own charity and they're moving the money over from their own to their own charity.
That's the thing. This is also pissing people off who are okay with tipping, right? Mm-hmm. You're taking tipping to such an extreme here that you are not forcing people, but kind of making people second guess what they want to do with their time, like go out to a restaurant with friends or a significant other and enjoy. Maybe it's not that deep and it doesn't go that far because they'll still tip, but just the mere fact of like, do I want to go into Chipotle or Potbelly
100%
and order this?
Because I'm going to ask to pay a tip.
And it's like, at that point, and this is now going to go back to the other part. At that point, put up a kiosk, a touch screen, let me put it in, have the guy or girl make the sandwich or the Chipotle bowl, and I won't have to deal with it. But now apparently people are getting asked for it in the checkout line.
Exactly. So now, and I'm telling you, I mean, you just brought this up. I do believe that there are people that are not 100% comfortable going into a restaurant or places like that because they know they're going to get asked this question. And now what? Do they tip? They don't. Some people are just naturally so nice that they want to tip. And they truly don't, like they don't want to tip, but they will because they're nice, right? So now it's like, okay, I'm going to, I'm already struggling for money and now I'm going to give an extra $2 when I don't have to. So I think that's also preventing people from actually enjoying their experience going to like a restaurant where they ask for this,
Yeah. Quickly going back to donating to the charities. If you're so inclined to donate, Google that charity on your phone real quick, and you can donate right through there. You're whether you have Apple, you have your Apple wallet set up, or Google, whatever phone you have, or you could even upload your card real quick and do it that way. That way, the charity itself, whether it's a charity that gives, most of that, call it $1, because some charities take percentages, right, to keep it running. Donate it directly. Don't donate through another party like these stores when they're asking you at the checkout, because you don't know where it's going. Not the best way, right? It's not the best way. Donate directly. Because it also works in your favor because you can.
If you have a business,
you could write it off. Even if you're an individual, you could get that and be like, I donated directly to this charity. How are you going to be able to get on your receipt? Well, okay, I donated when I was at Walgreens or whatever store to St. Jude, whatever. It might be more convenient to do it that way because you're like, oh, I meant to donate to charity this year and I haven't yet. So yeah, throw an extra $5 on it.
Right.
It's fine.
I don't know like that why companies do that, because I feel like Amazon donated so much money to charities and they've never asked you to like donate from when you're paying, right? They just do it, right? That's the way it should be, right? If you're going to donate from your own profits and revenue, not ask for the customer to push it.
We've talked Amazon before. Amazon is so big, they make so much revenue that they don't have to ask for it back.
Yeah, but don't tell me some of these companies that ask this stuff don't make a lot of money either.
They do make a lot of money.
Like Potbellies, I'm pretty sure that they do ask that $1 or whatever tip at the cashier. I think they're one of the restaurants.
They are.
So
they
like,
are.
And don't tell me they don't make a lot of money.
They do make a lot of money, but not compared to Amazon.
Oh no, well, compared to that, a lot of companies don't make that much money, right?
And also the way they're run. Whoever is on the board of directors, they're making these decisions. Going back to COVID changed a lot of things, right? They saw the that's where I feel like tipping culture got flipped on its head.
Mm-hmm.
I made so much money as a delivery driver during COVID in tips that it was a little crazy, right? And then when the restrictions opened up and people were able to go back to restaurants, I had to look for a new job because people for a long time, it wasn't that they weren't tipping. It's that they weren't ordering for delivery anymore. They were so secluded in their houses for so long because of the government regulations of staying home and distancing that when it got lifted, they wanted to be out and about, which I was one of them, you know, like more power to you. But because of COVID, all these companies saw people ordering for delivery and tipping the delivery drivers for the work, right? And they're like, well, the guy behind the computer is doing work. He's pushing a couple buttons.
Mm-hmm.
We could tip him. Or maybe it's a split. Whatever you put on that screen isn't necessarily, we'll play devil's advocate here a little bit. Maybe it's not just for
that one person,
that cashier, but it's pooled between all the workers, the guy or girl doing the cash, the sandwich makers, people in back stocking. It's probably split. We'll say it's probably split, right? But even then, it's tipping in America has been for people who don't make minimum wage, right? They make under minimum wage, and the tips are to supplement that.
Mm-hmm.
If you're making minimum wage or more, there should be no tipping. Yeah,
or at that point, higher minimum wage if you can't live off of that, right? But we already know where that goes.
Yeah,
higher minimum wage, prices increase. It's a circle. You can't do that. It just will never work.
And pretty soon, within, I would say, the next 5 to 10 years, fast food is going to be all automated. It's going to be all machines, and it's going to be self-checkout.
With the tip on the screen, yeah?
I don't know how to answer that. I hope to God that it's not, and if it is, then they better have a zero option.
Yeah, I mean, they have to. Because you won't go to that store anymore. I wouldn't. I'd be like, screw that.
Yeah.
Because I don't feel bad not tipping in that scenario, like whatsoever. Like I immediately put zero and laugh, you know, like, are you crazy?
Yeah.
And just walk out.
And that's the thing. I know it's not the fault of the employees.
Yeah, it's the company that wanted to do it.
And I'm sure there are employees who want the tip because it's more money to them. But the whole reason behind you as minimum wage not having the tip is because, like I just said, tipping was brought in for people who make under minimum wage, performance based on the work you give and what you do, right?
Have you ever tipped the cashier though? I think I have twice because I was at the beginning when I first saw that. I was like, wait a minute.
I have because of that. And also, if I'm not paying attention, or if there's a long line behind me and it's a new store, and you know, it's not always the same. It's either you have to put in like other and then hit 0 and then enter, or just 0 or no. Sometimes it's just like there's a long line and I'm like, whatever, and I go to the lowest amount. But for the most part, I go, oh, no.
Yeah, I definitely know. Because when I realized and looked at it, I'm like, wait a minute. What have you done? Especially if it's like 1 second or just a couple buttons. Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. When I have cash and it's like some change, like I'll throw it in the tip jar. But like,
but is it because you want a tip, or is it because you don't want the change in your pockets? Huh?
Both.
Okay. Well, that's different.
We'll go with
that.
both.
I think a lot of people do just out of convenience because you don't want the change, right?
Sure. And hey, even if it's like $1 or $2, sometimes that's like I don't have my whole wallet on me, and I haven't had a wallet that holds money, like physical bills, in years. So if I had some spare, like a 20 in the car, and I'm buying something and it's $2, I'll just leave the $2. That's also not. It's not just change. It's like bills too. And that's,
I mean, I've done that many times, but that also comes for me for convenience. I just don't feel like waiting for the change back.
Yeah.
More so than the tip.
Yeah, I would love to see America go towards the other tipping ways of Europe, you know, where there's very few things that you tip for.
And I would like to know what's the craziest thing that you left a tip for.
Yeah. Leave us a comment. Let us know if you're pro tipping, against tipping, or if you've been in one of these experiences, a self-checkout line that's told you to tip. If you return something, has it asked you to tip? We would love to know.